Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to the Littles News Briefing. Today, we have a really special guest that's coming on the show. Her name is Michelle Itzak, and she's an art therapist. An art therapist is a mental health professional, so it's somebody who meets with people and basically has them do art projects and things that help them to talk about their feelings more and understand what's going on in their mind. I asked Michelle all about her life right now as an art therapist with the coronavirus. And also I ask her about ways that we can all keep our mind healthy right now. So join me as we welcome Michelle to the show. Welcome, my friend Michelle Itzak, to the Littles News Briefing. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to talk a little bit about, first of all, what you do. So can you explain kind of to the viewers at home what exactly you do for work and what that means?
Sure, yeah. So I'm an art therapist and I'm also a mental health counselor. So I work with people of all ages, a lot of children and teens and adults. And when they come to see me, we use art in order to help them express themselves. So art therapy, it's a mental health and human services profession, and we use art making and the creative process and our knowledge of psychology, and we select art materials and interventions specific to each of the individuals that we're working with. And it's a different way for people to process things. Not everybody is always great at finding words to express themselves. So engaging in a creative process like art making is just a different way to tap into your mind and help you process your emotions.
Cool. What made you want to become an art therapist?
When I was younger, I had a lot of health issues and had to spend a lot of time in the hospital. And I really struggled with processing why things were happening to me, and just learning how to adapt and cope with the medical issues and things that I was experiencing. And so I was fortunate enough, my grandmother was an art teacher and she always made sure that I had art supplies. And so I think kind of unbeknownst to myself, I was using the creative process as a way to just kind of handle and understand what was happening to me. You know, I wasn't fortunate enough to have an art therapist to see, but just that creative process was helpful for me. And so as I grew up and learned a little bit more about helping professions and discovered the field of art therapy, I knew that was where I was supposed to be.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So during this time when a lot of people are working from home and things like that, are you still working with art therapy, or what are you doing exactly?
A lot of art therapists have shifted to virtual therapy, or call it telehealth or telemedicine. There's lots of different terms for it. But yeah, we can see clients via an online platform. I think a lot of art therapists prefer to work in person, but obviously that's not available right now.
Yeah.
But we are very adaptable people, and we know that there are people out there who need services. And so we are adapting our services and we're finding ways to be creative with them virtually.
Awesome. Um, so we've talked a little bit on the show before about, things that you can kind of do to help keep your mind healthy during this time. And I had my mom on to talk about that. And we hear so much about keeping our body healthy and, washing our hands a lot, but it's also important to keep our mind healthy. So what is your advice maybe to kids and families at home of ways to kind of be able to do that?
I think one of the best ways to keep your mind healthy is to be creative. And it can be with art, it can be with music, it can be with movement. Being creative does help you stay healthy both mentally and even physically. When you're being creative and making something, it can kind of help calm your brain. It can help calm your body. And they've even done some research, and sometimes being creative has some similar benefits to meditation. So finding something that's an outlet for you, whether it be writing a poem or journaling or listening to music, creating music, creating puppets and developing some sort of a play or something active in that way. All those different types of creative activities are beneficial for your brain and for your mind. They all can help increase your happiness. They all can help decrease stress or worry or anything like that that may be going on at this time. You can do them individually. You can do them with your family. I always also encourage people to just be creative with what you have. You may not have the opportunity to go to the store and get art materials right now, but you can walk outside and find some flowers. You can, do kind of a found objects collage of things that you find outside in nature. Look at your trash and your recycling. What can you take from there and recycle and be creative with that? So it's not necessarily something where you have to have lots of art materials or access to a lot of things, but just looking at the world and the things that you have in a different way and figuring out a way to create something with them.
Yeah, that's so true. I find that when I make something, even if it's just writing for me usually, or my husband draws a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in the military, but he'll like sketch and draw, and like that really
Mm-hmm.
just helps him not only pass the time, but it's just something fun to do. And then it's something you actually have, that you can give to somebody, or
Right.
you can just put up or something. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to know it doesn't have to be a beautiful piece of artwork that you would necessarily frame and hang up. But yeah,
Yeah.
just doodling or sketching or anything like that to loosen your mind and just to be able to relax is a great thing. Something that I've been doing, I've been taking magazines and tearing them apart and creating collages out of those torn up pieces. And so it's also a kind of a great metaphor for our world is kind of changing right now. The world that we know is, I don't want to say being torn apart, but being changed. And so rearranging it and making something new with it. It's a great metaphor for what we knew is no longer. And so we're having to kind of figure out new ways of looking at things and finding the positive in what we do have.
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked a lot about finding the positive too, and how that's really important, and to think of ways that this has, there to be honest about the negative part, the bad parts, and but then also to look at the good. Maybe we've had more time with our families. Maybe we've started a new hobby, started making art projects, things like that that maybe didn't have time to do before. I know we started like a little garden in our backyard, just to have something, and that's also creative. That's something that you can look at and watch grow, which is really fun. I've never really done completely before on my own as an adult, and it's very fun.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, what are some ways that you've personally stayed positive? Maybe what's something good that you've seen either in other people or in the world during this time?
Um, We've done a lot of different things. Obviously, being an art therapist, my kids and I engage in art making pretty much every day. We do something fun. Either the kids will do something individually, or we've done a few different family projects. I've been really enjoying seeing people across different communities, whether it be creating artwork in their windows or creating sidewalk chalk messages for other people. I feel like people have really wanted to connect and wanted to stay connected. And while it's great to be able to do it virtually, there's still something missing. And so to be able to do it through art is a wonderful thing that I feel like I've seen. So
Yeah, me too. I've seen that a lot, and I've seen people putting signs in their windows, and in our neighborhood, there's like a little, one of those free libraries where you take a book and leave a book. And I think they made it just recently for this, because they were saying, everyone needs more books right now, which is really cool. So if parents or kids want to find out more about art therapy, what would you suggest to them?
We have the American Art Therapy Association, which is our national organization, and their website is arttherapy.org. And it's got a lot of great information about art therapy. And then they've also got different resources and things for families about art therapy and things that are going on right now with the COVID situation. They also have a really great art therapist locator service on there. So if you're interested in working with an art therapist, they can help you locate one near you. So that would probably be one of your best resources.
Awesome. That's great. I'll link that below this video, and then we'll also put it on our website for the podcast, but so people can check it out. But is there anything else I didn't ask you about that you wanted to add? Thank you so much again for coming on the show, Michelle.
Yeah, no, sure. I'm just happy to be able to let more people know about art therapy and hopefully encourage more people to be creative and take care of themselves during this time. So
Yeah. Absolutely. It's so important.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much again, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Michelle. I really enjoyed talking to you. And I hope that everybody listening and watching at home enjoyed that too. Just like Michelle told us, there are so many ways that we can be creative right now and really keep our minds and our bodies healthy. So let us know if there are ways that you're doing this right now or ways that you're going to do it in the future. And send us an email to littlesnewsbriefing@gmail.com. If you have a question that you want answered, be sure to get a parent's help first and then send a video or an email to littlesnewsbriefing@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get all of the updates on new episodes. You can also listen to the show as a podcast at ricochet.com or wherever you download your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here soon.